Hey everybody, welcome back to 𝘍𝘪𝘭𝑀onger. I'm 𝘮𝘪𝘭𝑚onger, and today we're going to be talking some Spider-Man, specifically that Tom Holland is going to be put in the spotlight, folks. That's right. Everyone around the Marvel camps and other studios and people involved are saying Tom Holland has been identified as the transitory taking the place of the beloved Iron Man, Tony Stark. We're going to talk about how that transformation is already taking place in the movies and outside of the movies. Right before we get to that, we'd like to give you a little bit of Marvel trivia. And today's question is hopefully not too hard for you. Out of the three Spider-Man that we've seen on the big screen, which one of them had actual web shooters and which one of them had just web shooters from their actual body? Let me know if you know that in the comments below. And if you get this right, of course, we will give you a like. Now let's get started. It seems like a really long time ago that we found out that Tony Stark or Iron Man would no longer be moving forward with the Marvel's MCU series. That fateful moment where he takes it upon himself to save the universe, defeat Thanos by sacrificing his own life, snapping with the all-Infinity Stone Iron Man gauntlet, saying, "I am Iron Man," putting to rest any of the opposition that they were facing. That obviously was heartbreaking, and to see him go away was something that we never felt like that void would ever be quite filled. This is something that Spider-Man Far From Home really highlighted on. Tom Holland was really wrestling with the reality that he's this superhero that was kind of ushered in by Iron Man, like brought on, knighted by Iron Man even, and now Iron Man is no longer with us. Tony Stark's role played a pretty significant one. He was the hero, the leader of these Avengers, but the unlikely one. Don't get me wrong, Captain America was clearly a hero and leader as well, but Iron Man stayed true to his values. He was belligerently visceral in his way of operating. He was stubborn. He was, blunt-headed at times, but in doing so, there was this nuance about him, this captivating spirit of him, like he genuinely wanted to do the right thing, but he's going to do the right thing in his own way. Losing a character like that is pretty formative for a series. The MCU is traversing new waters as we see characters like Iron Man and Captain America no longer donning the doorsteps of the MCU. But who would have thought that the replacement, or at least the tentative replacement the MCU has in mind, is not a Robert Downey Jr. like look-alike or similar in lifestyle, but quite the opposite. The reports are saying that Marvel has plans for Tom Holland to fill that void. Now, if you're going to ask me, I have a feeling that Tom Holland might not have been actually the first choice. Don't get me wrong, the dad and son dynamic between Iron Man and Spider-Man is amazing on screen and almost irreplaceable. At the same time, if I had to guess that Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther was most likely on the docket to helm up the new MCU. Obviously, with Chadwick Boseman passing away, a terrible, tragic event, rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman, and prayers go out to his family, you have to fill that void. But other characters like Thor is clearly not stable as the leader, Chris Pratt's Star-Lord is not meant to be in that role, and unless there's someone we haven't seen on screen yet, it's not going to be Captain Marvel, it's not going to be this Ant-Man, it's not going to be even Nick Fury. You need someone that people can really rally around. Now, potentially that could be Doctor Strange, Benedict Cumberbatch, but it seems that they've pinpointed Tom Holland's Spider-Man. This probably comes that he comes with a certain amount of notoriety and popularity with the fans. Most people like him, but he's also unrefined. He's a young kid still trying to find his way, but he wants to do the right thing. He's inherently good, and he cares about the people he impacts with how he decides to act. This is something we even see in the SpiderMan No Way Home trailer. He is clearly bothered that his identity being revealed is bothering other people. He's even bothered by the fact that the villains from other universes are impacted by his existence in other dimensions. They even die to his hands, or at least fighting against him. Tom Holland sets his side not only in the movies but also in real life. He's a beloved celebrity who holds an upstanding character outside of the realm of just being Spider-Man on screen. He understands that being Spider-Man is not just a role you play and you turn off when you leave the studio. It's actually something you have to carry every time you're in front of the paparazzi, every time you're in front of kids. People believe that Tom Holland is Spider-Man, and he has to carry that mantle. That's something that Robert Downey Jr. has done very well. You look at Robert Downey Jr., you believe he's Tony Stark in real life. It's not just a character that he plays, it's who he embodies. And so someone who's going to take the helm of Tony Stark-esque leadership has to do the same thing on and off the camera. This is what Tom Holland has done so well. We believe he's Spider-Man. We know he loves Spider-Man. The whole moment where Sony and Marvel were on the rocks and looked like we might be losing Spider-Man forever, Tom Holland kept the ship together with tears and sadness and making calls, and maybe he was the sole reason they got back together, but now there's a better relationship between Sony and Marvel than ever. And with the recent success of Spider-Man No Way Home and Sony and Marvel's collaborations with Venom and obviously this upcoming film, it looks like there's no way this is stopping anytime soon. And just recently, Amy Pascal announced that there's going to be another trilogy of Spider-Man, and guess what? Tom Holland's going to be there. It looks like that Tom Holland not only is going to get his own next trilogy of Spider-Man movies, but he's also here to stay in the MCU. Before we continue this video, I just want to let you guys know that we have an awesome Instagram that updates on a regular basis with all things Marvel, DC, and everything that you love about the movies. So if you haven't already, go follow the Instagram right now. You won't regret it. Now let's get back to the video. This is critical when it comes to taking Iron Man's role. You gotta think about it. You need this character to be around, and since Spider-Man has been kind of flaky recently, there is no way to guarantee that. Once again, I do believe that Black Panther was probably the pick here, but Spider-Man makes a great pick when Sony seems 100% on board to keep him around for a long time. On top of that, some of the more funny things is actually seeing Tom Holland copying Robert Downey Jr.'s style. With glasses and suits and glamour, he's embodying that young Robert Downey Jr. like Tony Stark style, and people are loving it. Once again, I think Spider-Man is an interesting pick because leadership, it does come with a certain amount of like seniority and seasoned living and experience. Right now. This is things that Spider-Man lacks. Now don't get me wrong, he's getting more of that as the movies progress, but it'd be interesting to see him lead the Avengers or be a part of formative decisions because he's still a kid. So I don't know if the transition between Tony Stark and to Tom Holland is going to be super smooth, but I think Spider-Man No Way Home is going to be formative in that process. Guys, let me know what you think about this. Do you think Tom Holland is a great fit to take on the new leadership role that Tony Stark held? Once again, it's one of those things where it's not the most adult character put in there, but it's definitely one beloved by the fans. On my own thought here is, hey, why not? I want Tom Holland to stay, and they understand that the whole of Iron Man will never truly be filled. That moment, that building up, that character going from this playboy, just wild card to someone who puts his life on the line and sacrifices his own happiness and existence so others can live was really, really monumental, and it's going to be hard to fill, but I do think Tom Holland is up for the challenge. Once again, guys, if you think Tom Holland is a great transition to Iron Man, let me know in the comments below. Tell me if you think there's a better character to take that role. I would love to hear it. And of course, we're going to be answering that Marvel trivia. If you've been paying attention to any of these Spider-Man trilogies, there has been a distinct difference between two of the Spider-Man and one of the other Spider-Man. The main thing in the comics is Spider-Man's got his own web shooters that he's created. Well, Sam Raimi said, "Pah, we ain't gonna do that." So Tobey Maguire in the original Spider-Man trilogy had web actually coming out of his body. Now, we're not gonna talk about the anatomically incorrect places that it's coming out, and nor do we want it to come out of the anatomically correct places coming out, but Tobey Maguire shot his own humanoid synthesized out of his wrist web, as opposed to Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland, who created their own web shooters. Once again, guys, thank you so much for watching. We appreciate your support. We are the place where we can fulfill your movie hunger, and you can get your Marvel news, movie news, and everything else in between. If you're looking to support us or you're wondering how, the best thing you could do is subscribe, turn notifications, and hit that bell. It does help us here, and we want to give you guys this content on the regular. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I will see you later.